Whether it's to settle in another country, expand your mind, or impress the new girl in accounting, there are a million reasons why you should learn a second language. Now, if you're wondering which one, you came to the right place. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 easiest languages to learn.
Okay, so you know that one sentence. Can you say anything else?
Andiamo. Fratello. Damastriani tutti funyuns.
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're focusing on real spoken languages that are relatively easy for native English speakers to pick up as a second or third language. Sorry, Klingons, but you're left out today.
That means nothing. It's gibberish.
What?
That's not gibberish, it's Klingon.
Number 10. Norwegian.
Jeg har det fint. Hva med deg?
The first of a few Scandinavian languages to make this list, Norwegian is one of many languages whose word order and ways to pronounce words may be familiar to English speakers. Plus, verbs are a snap. You don't even have to conjugate them based on person or number, and conjugating for tenses usually only means adding one letter. Put that all together and that means this North Germanic language is relatively simple for Anglophones to pick up.
How do I say dope?
Dope?
Dope.
Cool.
Cool.
Though it began as Old Norse in roughly the 8th century, modern Norwegian dates back to the 16th century, and today, roughly 5 million people across the world speak it. Just think of all the new friends you could make if you spoke Norsk. Number 9. Swedish. Now, not that kind of Swedish. Spoken in Sweden, parts of Finland, and probably by some overzealous IKEA employees, Swedish actually shares some characteristics with English. Both are Germanic languages, both have two genders, and both use a similar subject-verb-object syntax.
Jag bor faktiskt i London just nu, men jag skulle väldigt gärna vilja bo i...
What's more, both languages share many similar words, like absurd, December, and orange. What is different about Swedish is its use of a pitch accent, meaning you can differentiate between different words based on the tone or pitch in which they're spoken, which makes it sound kind of sing-songy. Okay, the pronunciation can be kind of tough, but even so, it's estimated by some that it would only take an English speaker about 24 weeks or 600 hours to learn Swedish.
Ingen reklamtack? It means no junk mail, please.
Okay,
How do you actually say that?
Ingen reklam.
Number 8. German.
Herr Donaghy ist nicht in die Lage, sich diese Vorkommen zu sorgen.
Admittedly, German sounds pretty intense, but thankfully, it's not as hard as it seems. Like most of the languages on this list, German uses the same alphabet as English. Both languages also use comparable stress and intonation patterns, and share a number of vocabulary words.
Aber ja, natürlich Hans ist nass, er steht unter dem Wasserfall.
What's that mean?
Naturally Hans is wet, he's standing under a waterfall.
If you've ever ordered a pretzel or a bratwurst from a delicatessen, you've already got a few German words in your arsenal. One thing that might pose a problem, however, is the grammar, especially word genders. For example, a spoon is masculine, a fork is feminine, and a knife is neutral. There doesn't seem to be any logic to it, but you'll probably forget once you get to Oktoberfest anyway.
Ha-ha! Buenos dias, Dwight!
Guten Tag, Herr Michael. I don't understand why Michael is wasting his time with Spanish. I have it on very good authority that within 20 years, everyone will be speaking German.
Number 7. Dutch.
Yeah, gold member, I don't speak freaky deaky Dutch.
Sort of a midway point between English and German. This West Germanic language is both structurally and syntactically familiar to English speakers. In fact, it's been said that learning Dutch is like learning German, only easier. There will be some sounds in Dutch that English speakers will find difficult to wrap their mouths around, but the fact that there are so many relatively similar words in English and Dutch makes up for that.
Those Dutch don't make it easy, do they? It's Polish. I know, but I just have a thing about the Dutch.
For example, in Dutch, day becomes dag, world becomes wereld, and so on. That's not so hard, is it? Now get on a plane to Amsterdam and explore the wereld to dag.
There are only two things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch.
Number 6. Afrikaans.
I mean, it's baie moeilik om in Afrikaans te praat as daar net een persoon is wat Afrikaans praat.
Used mainly in South Africa and Namibia, Afrikaans is spoken by an estimated 15 to 23 million people around the world. It's actually a descendant of the Dutch language, with roughly 90 to 95% of its vocabulary coming from Dutch. However, all things considered, Afrikaans is a simpler language than either Dutch or English. There are no verb conjugations like speak, spoke, and spoken, or noun genders as in a language like French. And its sentence structure is relatively logical. So once you have a few words memorized, you'll be able to start building sentences in no time. Good luck, or geluk.
What did he just say?
Number 5. Esperanto.
Sula Esperanto societo esti multe malantau?
Created in 1887 by Polish doctor L.L. Zamenhof, Esperanto was intended to be a bridge between people of different nations, cultures, and native languages. The idea was that this constructed language could easily be learned and spoken around the globe, enabling people to communicate through a neutral tongue.
Wait a minute, can I hear all animals?
Yep. Animals have a universal language, like Esperanto. But this one actually caught on.
And it really is simple. The spelling is intuitive, and the grammar rules are a breeze, since it was planned without irregularities. Today, it's spoken by about 2 million people worldwide to varying degrees. And aside from being easy to learn, it's also been shown that learning Esperanto makes it easier to learn a third language. So if you're interested in expanding your vocabulary significantly, Esperanto is a good start.
He estas vera. Mi tres sonica.
Loser.
Number 4. Portuguese.
E também português, CD-ROM.
It was called the sweet and gracious language by Spanish author Miguel de Cervantes. Well, that's a ringing endorsement. This Romance language is already spoken by over 250 million people in the world, and alongside Spanish, has been pegged as the fastest growing European language after English, according to UNESCO data. One easy thing about Portuguese is the fact that if you can say something, you can ask it as a question. All you have to do is change your intonation. For example, we're here becomes we're here, plus its close relationship to Spanish means that learning Portuguese would give you a leg up to learn it as a third language. Win-win.
É claro que eu saber que tu não és tão louca como eu.
Number 3. French.
Guess who's got 2 thumbs, speaks limited French, and hasn't cried once today? This moi.
Français, la langue d'amour, or the language of love if you don't speak it yet. Spoken by 220 million people worldwide, this romantic romance language has a lot in common with English. In fact, according to some experts, almost half of all English words, or roughly 80,000 words, have their roots in French.
And he prefers Monsieur Candy to Mr. Candy.
Si c'est cela qu'il préfère.
He doesn't speak French. Don't speak French to him. It'll embarrass him.
This is a result of the Norman conquest of 1066, when William the Conqueror of Normandy invaded and became the first Norman king of England. So today, French is quite familiar to Anglophones, and therefore easier to learn. Yes, you'll have to power through the grammar, phrase structure, word genders, and weird accents, but isn't it worth it? French just has that certain je ne sais quoi.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je te coupe plow.
Number 2. Italian.
Well, I speak the most Italian, so I'll be your escort. Donovan speaks second most, so he'll be your Italian cameraman.
Bellissimo. Arguably the second language of love, Italian has this melodic quality to it you can't help but fall in love with. Compared to English, Italian verbs can seem a little more complex, but don't worry, there are some words in common to help you out. Minute and minuto, paradise and paradiso, impossible and impossibile, and many more.
Corretto.
The fact that the Italian alphabet only has 21 letters to the English alphabet's 26 makes the language that much easier to master as well, with the letters J, K, W, X, and Y only being used in imported words and names. And don't forget, you also have to learn the hand gestures.
You can't learn Italian like this. You don't speak the language just with your mouth. You speak it with your hands.
Number 1. Spanish.
¿Dónde? Esta es la biblioteca. Me llamo T-Bone, la araña discoteca.
One of the Iberian Romance languages, this Latin-based tongue is spoken by almost 600 million people worldwide and is recognized as an official language in more than 20 countries. With so many people speaking Spanish, it makes for a very appealing option when it comes to choosing a second or third language, because you'll be able to communicate with that many more people.
I am a Spanish genius!
What's more, it's also fairly easy for Anglophones to learn, as about 30 to 40% of English words have a similarly spelled and pronounced Spanish equivalent that means the same thing, like family and familia. So what are you waiting for? You probably learned some in high school, so brush up. It'll be no problema.
I believe that every man, woman, and child in this country should learn how to speak Spanish. They are our neighbors to the south, and this would be a healing thing.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.